We all have our serendipity.
We all have our Jane.
We all have our accidents.
We all have our secrets. We all have our illusions.
We all have our person.
We all have our sunshine.
April 2nd, 2009, 2 days before my 13th birthday. I remember I had a nurse named Maria who was a salsa dancer, but I don't remember my birthday. I am now blind in the top left quadrant of my vision, but I no longer have an 100% chance of stroke by the time I'm 22. I'm 21 now, and despite migraines, seizures, and years of recovery, I am so thankful that I no longer have a death sentence less than a year from now. February 13th, 2009, I was sitting in class looking at my notebook when I started to see black spots everywhere.
In this moment, I just sit there and realize that my favorite spot at home is to see him on the water across from me.
Turns out it was the beginning of a migraine. My dad took me to our family doctor, who referred me to an eye doctor, and she conducted a non-invasive visual field test. I have an extra blind spot. I used to have a sticker on my glasses in the same place when I was younger. I called him Bob. People used to ask if it got in the way, but it never did because, well, it was straight up in my blind spot. So I knew about it, I just didn't know that I knew about it.
As a matter of fact, we were out on the water together for years before we even knew each other.
February 17th, 2009, the doctor suggested that I get an MRI, so I went in for one. I found out the following day that I had an arterial venous malformation in my right temporal lobe. My mom describes it as a jumble of blood vessels, but in reality, it's an artery connected to a vein without capillaries, so there's no pressure diffusion because an artery is muscle line and a vein isn't. So it was a stroke waiting to happen. Either way, I didn't realize it was going to change my life forever.
Dear Jane,
not long after we met, I soon found out we shared the same love for sailing.
lately, after a long time, I'm starting to walk with my head up again. I used to walk around with my head down because I feared your white-hot hatred.
I am so grateful to have met him because now I can do something I love so much with someone I love so much.
My shoulders are stronger now.
It makes the experience so much more enjoyable.
I've learned to carry the weight I constantly feel. The weight you were so ready to place on me because you were unhappy with yourself.
March 10th, 2009, I went to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, or CHOP, to meet Dr. Rebecca Icord, my neurologist, for the first time. She's a really cool lady. She does ballroom dance. She told me that I needed surgery because of the size and location of the malformation, pressed against my optic nerve.
You cut me out of your life like an extra, unwanted piece of fabric. I'll be honest, I struggled for a while because the pain of your biased hatred was too much to bear.
April 1st, 2009, I went to the hospital at 4:30 a.m. and had an angiogram, which is where they stick a catheter in your femoral artery and snake it all the way up to your brain to inject glue and stop blood flow.
I let you get to me when I really shouldn't have.
The next day, they went in and took the malformation out. April 2nd, 2009, 2 days before my 13th birthday. We all have our serendipity.
I let your view of me define who I was, when the only opinion of me that matters is mine. I texted you the other day and asked why you chose to leave me so abruptly, because I still didn't understand what I did to wrong you. I got my answer. After receiving your message and all the venom of a snake dripping from it, I ultimately realized that the problem wasn't me. It was you. In your message, you demolished my personality and how I acted, and took all my success to be a personal attack on you.
We sail on different boats, but we have the same job. During the starting sequence, we sit at the front of the bow to watch for oncoming boats, passing each other through the water with a rush of adrenaline.
I realize now that you are a selfish person, and you always have been, because me doing better than you was something you could not accept. The moment you were no longer at the center of my universe, you drifted onto others who would give you the undeserving devotion you crave. Sincerely, Lindsey, we all have our Jane.
It was hot. It was mid-July. Over the summer, my family and I sailed. We raced on the water. My best friend Emily and I had
plans to go to the boardwalk. We were going to walk around, get some food, and have a great day.
2 years ago, I met someone, and we became the best of friends.
We decided to pick up some iced tea for our ride there.
Wednesday nights have become our sailing nights.
When we got to the beach, it was absolutely impossible to find parking. Ultimately, we gave up and decided to go to Nathan's for lunch. Because I love a good hot dog. While we were on our way there, I very suddenly realized that there was an urgent situation. We had to get to Nathan's instantly. I swear to you, we got stuck at every single red light, and I have never been in such agony. I begged Emily to pull over, but she kept saying, "You'll be fine. We're almost there. Think about other things. It'll be okay." No, it was not okay. At long last, we pulled up in the Nathan's parking lot, and I bolted from the car. I have never run so fast in my life. My gym teachers from high school would be astounded. When I entered the Nathan's, it was an absolute mob scene. I was so close, yet so far. Finally, I got to where I needed to be, but there was one last obstacle I had yet to conquer. I was wearing a button-down romper with a little bow at the end, and my hands were shaking with so much urgency that I could hardly undo the buttons. And when I got to the bow, before I could untie it, my body betrayed me. I peed my pants in a Nathan's hot dogs. We all have our accidents.
One day, my whole family and I were eating at my grandmother's house when all of a sudden, she looked up and said, "I have made a mistake. He cometido un error." We were all shocked. My grandmother had been a saint. So we asked her, "Abuela, ¿qué error usted cometió?" And she said, For the next month and a half, she would repeatedly say, "He cometido un error." And whenever we asked her, she said, No les puedo decir. And then she would cry. My grandmother had Alzheimer's. When you have Alzheimer's, you can remember things from when you were younger, but not exactly more recent events.
When I was younger, I had a hard time distinguishing my dreams from reality. I have this vivid memory from when I was a baby.
I started sailing when I was 7 years old, about the same amount of time I've been dancing. It is my other passion.
I'm standing at the top of the stairs of my house, and my sister comes up from behind me. She pushed me all the way down the stairs, holding my favorite sippy cup. It had a purple top. I remember it so clearly.
We would always try to get her to tell us her gran error, but she died.
I started to cry.
We still don't know what mistake she made.
My mom picked me up to comfort me. I snitched on my sister saying she pushed me down the stairs.
Maybe she did remember, and she just didn't want to tell anybody.
But to this day, every time I try to remind my family of the story, no one remembers it. I still don't even know if it was a dream or if it really happened. We all have our secrets.
Before I was born, my mom faced a lot of rainy days. That's why I'm named Odessa Rain. And after I was born, we faced these rainy days together. But despite being a rainy baby, she'd always sing to me, "You're my sunshine." And I think that's why I love the sun so much. Aside from the fact that it's warm and brings light to everything that it touches. Sunflowers kind of look like the sun. I think that's why they're called sunflowers. The sun and sunflowers have always meant a lot to me. These things always shine through the rain. And it's because of this that they remind me of my mom. You see, she's the only person who's really been consistent in my life, so I don't get close to anybody.
We all have our person.
But with him, I couldn't help it.
I have this sort of deep connection with him that I've never had with anyone before.
Relationships of all kinds come and go. Family, friends, and those of the romantic kind seem to be especially finite. This one feels different.
It's a special connection because I know that feeling is never going to go away.
He has qualities that remind me of my mom. That can be a blessing and a curse.
But I am so grateful to have him in my life.
He calls me a sunflower, but we've also made it through a lot of rain. Despite that, he's my sunshine. We all have our sunshine. We all have our
Person.
but there are still many more stories to live.